And good morning. It's your friendly neighborhood Tironan, and today we're going to be looking at the Hurricane Mark II. Thank God. And your first comment is going to be, why thank God? Well, because of all the aircraft I've ever flown, perhaps even less than the Ju-87, I detested the Hurricane Mark I about as much as any aircraft I've ever flown. And you're going to ask why. Well, it was slow. It couldn't turn. It had a pair of bombs that couldn't really do much in the multi-role, and it had an all machine gun armament, which was historical, but just made it, as far as I was concerned, nothing more than a flying target. I mean, 13-second turn time, very slow, low altitude, insufficient bomb load, insufficient speed, insufficient altitude. And when you start putting all that together, you're beginning to wonder, am I doing anything, why don't I just tow targets for the other side to shoot down? Pretty miserable experience. So anyway, we have the Hurricane Mark II here. And already you knocked 3 seconds off the turn time. And because I saved all my modules from the last aircraft, we now have the Merlin 20. Had enough points left over to go ahead and upgrade to the, and you can see here I got another 10% of the hit points, pretty standard there. Got some an up to the dive speed. Interestingly enough, this says nothing much about the maneuverability, but I'll take 3 seconds for 3 seconds from the old one anyway. So I'm hoping I'll have a better experience with this. But good, bad, or indifferent, it's my job to show you the aircraft. So let's go ahead and outfit this thing for battle. We'll put some fire extinguisher on, a first aid package, and automatic restarter. And we'll apply that. And I think we're ready to take this thing out. First flight, you're going to see everything I see with it. Right now I have not bothered to put bombs or rockets on. It's 500 pounds of bombs and two 250-pound, 250-pound bombs is not enough to affect much anything. As a multi-role aircraft, it makes a kind of slow and not so maneuverable fighter. Would be my evaluation just looking at the paper stats. We'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. Now we still have the rifle caliber machine guns, and I hopefully after this flight we'll be able to upgrade those to the 1250 caliber machine guns. Now that ought to be pretty exciting. And I didn't turn off my phone, and the robocaller was wanting attention. But they can sell me stuff that I don't want to buy. All right. So let's do what we can do here.
You are approaching the front line. Off we go.
Now, if you have any questions, you don't actually get a lot of altitude out of this aircraft either. And Hurricanes weren't famous for being particularly effective at high altitude. And part of the reason I was so down on the other aircraft was because it's bad enough that you have poor maneuverability, but you add that with short-range machine guns, and then you have bad altitude, and you have a minimal bomb load that can't really affect anything, and you begin to question, are you doing anything else than being a liability to your team? And even at Tier 4, it was an extremely poor performer. Well, like it, dislike it, or hate its guts, such is life of the big city. But it's an aircraft that managed to not impress me in all sorts of ways. When you start having to be scared of self-defense fighters and you're in a fighter, it doesn't speak well of the aircraft, does it? Now, don't get me wrong. Not every aircraft is expected to be a world beater and so forth and so on. I will tell you already, my impressions of this aircraft are far better than I have had in the other aircraft. At least it's not a total dog. Okay, well, and I have another aircraft behind me here, and I really don't want that aircraft behind me, and it was a good thing because this was it's like a Bullfighter or a 129. That's why I'm still alive. I'm looking forward to the armament upgrades on this because there we go. And boy, do I have sympathy for that poor guy. I flew that aircraft. And besides this plane's predecessor, I don't think there's any aircraft I tested more or learned more from than the Ju-87. Boy, did I dislike that aircraft. But it certainly taught me a lot. Okay, let's get over here and see if we can get an airfield. And they got it without me. And they didn't even ask my permission. The reason I'm not going after this aircraft is because I can't get up that high, I don't think. Let's give it a try. I mean, part of this is to discover what it can and can't do, right? And about 3,200 feet is where it's rated at, its happy level. And you'll notice that I'm out of boost and I'm still nowhere near the aircraft. So we'll straighten up a little bit here. Try to gain some airspeed. We're still climbing, doing a whopping, yeah, this is just not working. Okay, so we'll go down here to where we can actually affect something. And we just locked up. Okay, that's good. Well, let's come back, get right back into the game. I'm sure I am going to have to respawn. Because it's the middle of the dive, and obviously there's no live pilot to pull it out of its dive. Yeah. Wasn't that exciting? Okay. Let's just move along here. These things happen from time to time. And I notice the chat function is showing that it's not working again. And again, I want to tell you that my record to date is my chat function does not work more often than it works. Far more often. Does it fail than does it work? Um, and that's unfortunate on multiple levels. And I've seen where you guys have tried to contact me after the fact, and I try to reply, and I have no luck with it, and so forth and so on. Please understand, I am not ignoring you. I just can't do a whole lot about it. I like talking to you guys in game. I like saying hi and chatting. I'm not one of those guys with 40,000 subscribers. Wish I was in some ways. In other ways, I'm kind of glad because I get to respond to my uh, uh, customers and viewers and subscribers uh, far more this way. Problem with a slow fighter, and this one's still fairly slow, I've got aircraft polish on it and everything else, is that when you're chasing faster aircraft, a lot of times you just end up wasting your time. I'm having not a whole lot of success actually getting close to this fella, and I'm having to whittle him down a little piece at a time. There we go. We should see some improvement with that. Oh, it's my clone here on the opposite side. Nice thing is, I should have at least comparable performances somewhere in that area. See if we can rescue our fellow pilot here. I will tell you from this standpoint, the aircraft uh, is much superior to the Mark One. A lot of that's speed, but also it is maneuverability. It can actually turn and do something. And it's like climbing out of a Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith and getting to a Porsche by comparison. Now, it's obviously got its limitations as well, but got to be honest, I certainly enjoy this so much more than I did the Hurricane Mark One. Not even comparable. Okay, let's return to the hangar. And we'll come here. And we made some gold, we made some experience, we made some free experience. Well, that's a good thing. Alright, we shot down 7 aircraft, which is about 6 more than I managed in the last game with the Hurricane Mark 1, if that gives you any idea. You're talking a 10-second turn time as opposed to a 13-second turn time, and oh, does that make a difference. I also did not attempt to put bombs on it, so we got some speed up from that. We came in 4. So there's some hope there for having some That was our buddy from Guns, Guns, Guns that we flew with when I was flying the Spitfire Mark 14. And I hope this means that they fixed the problem permanently. I noticed that I went through about 4 days of trying to fix the chat, tech tickets, everything in the world, and my chat would come on about 1/3 of the time. It would never stay on. Came in today and it said it's unavailable. They're trying to repair it, and so I'm hoping that came in. One of my other viewers told me they were having the same issue and they'd seen a lot of tickets on it. So I suspected the problem's on their side, but I've got no way to tell. Okay, so let's go to upgrades. And now I can get the 12 Browning machine guns. Let's see what that does. Let's go take a look at the information here. And so you had 8. So that's about 200 damage per second. And let's go here and we'll pull up information. Oops. And I'm not really seeing much of a difference here. Why would you even put this upgrade up there? 1,440 feet. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless it's slower to... This has got to be an oversight on World of Warplanes. I mean, we all make mistakes, right, guys? But this is where you want to get to. Okay, so let's go pull this up because we're obviously going to have to buy that before we buy this. I guess the only difference is you get 12 of them instead of 8 of them. So you go from 200 to 300, and then from 300 to 4 times 90, 180, 360. And the 420s have a lot of reach to them. So when you look at that, you're going to 2,231 feet. So you're getting almost 1,000 feet out of it. They'll make a nice difference to the aircraft. But we'll take what we can get. Nobody's going to say that I was just overwhelmed with the amount of firepower available. For right now, I don't see that getting, 2 500-pound bombs is going to be a great add-on. Get them if you want to. It's only 6 miles per hour difference. And then if you look at this one, it's 9 miles per hour difference. Yeah, well, okay. What do you get on this? Well, if you go up to here, it's enough to more than make up the difference. So I don't know that I would go be in a rush to put on those bombs, but given the fact that because you only take a 9 mile per hour hit, so it shouldn't be all that bad. Altitude performance, by the time you hit 3,300 feet, you're going to notice it. The aircraft was never designed to be a high altitude fighter. They had other aircraft for that, and some of the marks of the Spitfire were extremely good at getting it at very high altitude, as well as the fact that they had some programs for high altitude fighters that the Spitfire eventually made obsolescent. So they had them. All right, so what the heck? Let's give this another go around. We'll see what upgrading the firepower by 1/3 is going to do. Nice thing about Tier 5 aircraft is instant gratification isn't very far away. How unusual to have chat back. It's very strange. Mostly I come on, I count a half dozen people trying to contact me, and I can't get through to them. I can't tell you how frustrating that was getting. That would be irritating for a normal player. But when you're running content and everybody wants to say, "Hey, Tier, how you doing? I've seen your videos and stuff," and you want to talk to them and interact and stuff, and of course you're not doing it, right? And it's enough to drive one just absolutely up the wall. You want to be available to people, and you want to say hi, and you want to be friendly, and you want to, why the heck would you listen to somebody that won't pay attention to you, right? And I am going to confess that there is a content provider in World of Warships, and I still occasionally play that game, still follow some of the content providers on there, and there's one I just dropped. I found him very rude. Couldn't even bother to put together a whole sentence, and was constantly getting on and whining about his personal life on his videos. Not making enough money, talking about his girlfriend, talking about friends of his, or they were having it rough, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm all the one that's all messed up, but you guys don't come in here to listen to me whine about my personal life. Why would you care? I'm not saying that you don't care. I'm just saying, that's not why you watch the videos. And about the fifth one of those I watched, I finally realized, this guy's really getting to the fit. Getting to feel entitled. Gotta admit, that's a nice upgrade. Now, I would like not to be shot at by the anti-aircraft, especially since I have no way to strike back. But that's a nice upgrade. Now, I talked about how much more maneuverable this is than the Hurricane Mark 1, and that's lovely, and that's great, and I mean every word of it, but please understand, this is not the second coming of the AM-62 or something. It's just not. It's not that maneuverable an aircraft. If you want something to compare it to, probably a Wildcat or a P-40 would be what it feels like to me. Got good effective guns, nothing wrong with it. Can certainly get on target, can certainly tear a target up pretty quick. That does not mean that you're going to get involved with a Hayabusa or a Zero and absolutely tear it, get on its tail and tear it up. If you do that sort of stuff with a true turn and burn, you're going to die. Okay, and that fellow managed to chase me off his tail by firing over my shoulder. I thought I had an enemy aircraft on my tail. Well, what are you going to do? All right. Yeah, I can't dead stick. There we go. Okay. Busy up here. And a heavy fighter trying to ram. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Sorry, I don't like rammers much. Can't say I've never done it, but I generally don't try to do it on purpose. I think it's mark of a bad pilot. That's what you have guns for. Oh my, is it busy up here. HE what? 112? That was a competitor to the BF-109, right? Yeah.
The enemy is launching rocket strikes on our complex, trying to neutralize the enemy military base.
There's nothing more frustrating than not being able to get up to a target. Just immensely irritating. And it all goes to say I'm not, it's not a high altitude fighter, and I'm trying to turn it into one again. I got one of those Lambert medals before, probably got it a few times, but I'm not sure what that's about. And I'm waiting on the SQ to slow down so I can finish this guy up. Got the Guardian medal. And I'm not going to waste time with that. Now I wish I took in some bombs and rockets, but okay. We got 4 bases. We actually got a nice lead, so if we don't totally blow it, maybe we can win this. Looks like he's got enough planes up there to kill an elephant, even so. Hopefully that won't be too long. Started to say even bots can shoot him down. There's probably human up there too, and then not fair to say that.
Way to go! Victory is close.
Let's see where I'm needed at. 180 degrees. All right. Well, if we get the engine upgrade, I may go ahead and get some bombs and rockets on that if I have enough silver. So mind you, they don't do a whole lot of damage, but you have some ability to affect the ground attack game. I'm not sure we have enough aircraft there to make a difference. Doing much more to get shot down, but I've got a fellow pilot down there, so, and I've got somebody on my tail. And I got somebody on my tail again.
Victory is ours. We're waiting for your return.
All right. I'm going to take that one. I think I earned that one. All right, shot down and loaded one aircraft, assisted with two more, and the sector and team score summary. Yes, I did deliver yesterday team score kind of quick. Got another token. All right, let's take another look at the team score. Yeah, we're just going to leave that one alone. All right, so we did pretty well. I'm going to leave that, and I'm not going to make any comments on team score. As much as I detested the Mark 1, I think the Mark 2 is a far better aircraft. So it's going to be worth the pain of going through the Mark 1 to get to the Mark 2. This is a very effective aircraft. Its speed for its tier is okay. Take a look at the pilot. And I need to retrain him. And I don't really have enough well, yes I do. I can do that. And we will. Okay. Getting back to it. This is a good aircraft. This one's actually worth having. The other one, even for Tier 4, that was a rotten aircraft. You couldn't boom and zoom with it. It was as bad as a multi-role fighter. It couldn't turn with anything. This is a whole different aircraft. This one's competitive. And I feel like with the upgrades that you can get, it can be more than competitive. We've got about another 52,000. Sorry, that's... Yeah, I got to make another 52,000 silver for that one. And take a look at what that'll take. So this is more of a silver issue than it is than anything else. You really want these guns, okay? Not that it isn't effective with the 12-303s. It is, but it's the same issue as you run across the P-51, which is you have to get close. And unlike the P-51, this thing was never the fastest aircraft in the sky. In fact, it wasn't even close. Gave up a good 20, 30 miles an hour to the BF-109 and to its stable mate, the Spitfire. That's why it was eventually relegated to ground attack. It was never a horrible aircraft, and it could actually, and you've heard me preach about this before, it could actually turn inside the turning circle of a Spitfire. Not by much, but by a good bit. Or not by a good bit, but if you measured the turning circles of a Spitfire and this side by side, this one turned about, if I remember, and I'm working off an old graph I saw probably 20 years ago, so let's be truthful about this, but about 15 feet, which means it'd take 4 or 5, 6 turns before it could turn inside of a Spitfire, but it was that nimble. Well, they got it crammed into the multi-role. You heard my thoughts about it in the video before last, where well, maybe 4 videos back, on my comments, but I think that the multi-role category ought to be just eliminated because it forces World of War gaming into making compromises with aircraft that I don't think should be made. That's in my opinion. I'm not the one running the game, okay? But it's a suggestion. But if I had my druthers, I'd like them to see them go ahead and drop the multi-role altogether. There were certainly some all-rounders out there, but just keep the aircraft to what they were. This was a fairly decent tourney fighter. Well, it's not in this game, but it was a tourney fighter. It was not something you wanted to get into a close turning contest with. Messerschmitt pilot in an F-109, which was a tourney fighter. Again, not well represented in this game. And while I'm on the subject, you know, when I say tourney fighter, low speed tourney fighter. Some things like the Hayabusa and the Zero Sen were great at low speed, low altitude maneuvers. But then it turned out, well, that's great until you get into high speed and high altitude, and that's a whole different regime. That's where you see the P-47 begin to dance like a ballerina. It was still not a great turning fighter, but it could barrel roll and corkscrew around aircraft and defeat them while they're trying to turn. That's nimbleness in a way that we don't have that mechanic for here. But it got faster as it went up. It didn't get slower. You know, there are other aircraft like that that beat that kind of criteria. They were really good at high altitude and kind of not so good at low altitude. MiG-1, MiG-3 especially, really came into its own as a high altitude fighter. The I line, again, the further you went up, the better it got. Anyway, we'll wrap it up here. I may play another couple of games in it. If we do, you may see another video on it, but this is a far superior aircraft. This is worthy of your time. Suffer through the Hurricane 1, just bite the bullet and tough it out, or use some free experience and get out of the aircraft, and you'll be much happier. All right, but this is waiting for you, and this is a fun aircraft. And with the next upgrades, let's go over that real quick. When you get this, you're going to go up to just shy of 350 miles an hour. You're going to get another big boost. You're going to go from 300 to 380. Not bad. 360, I should say. Not bad, right? And you get a kicker in range of about 800 feet. And then you can add some bombs to it because it really doesn't take that much away from it. And so you can have a little effect, and I do stress a little effect, on the ground attack. And it should be a fun fighter for you. All right. Remember to like the video if you like the video. And by all means, please subscribe. I need all the subscribers I can get. And we'll see you tomorrow.